Well, welcome to our coverage of the 75th Annual Golden Globe Awards, Gold Derby. We're covering and we're going to have a rotating panel. The awards are less than 2 hours away, and I think this is one of the most open Globe years we've had in quite a while. To kick things off today, I'm Matt Noble. I'm joined by Andrew Carden and Riley Chow. You can start for us. What are you got your eye most keenly on for today's Golden Globes?
Hey.
Yep.
Oh, I think that it's potentially going to be a very spread the wealth kind of evening. I think it's possible that no film really sweeps because so many of the races are completely open and there's no clear shoe-in runner in a lot of these races, that ultimately there may be a big spread the wealth, single picture run across the board as we've seen in some recent years. So it could be a night where, a lot of the films go home happy.
What do you think, Riley?
Well, on the television side, I noticed that I'm predicting all white people, which feels very wrong for this year. And I'm not predicting a lot of diversity on the film side. So maybe my predictions are all off.
Yeah. So let's start off by talking about some of these big film races. In the best drama film race, I think it could go any number of ways. I don't think we've got a clear leader here. Andrew, who are you predicting to win best drama movie?
So I have The Shape of Water winning best drama picture, but I agree it could be really any of these five. You could make a case for even something like Dunkirk, which could match up and take original score to go along with it. I suspect that's probably the least likely scenario. Not implausible. The Shape of Water came into this race with a lot of nominations, got a fair number of wins tonight. So I'm going with that, but I wouldn't be surprised to see anything, prevail here.
Yeah. Riley?
Yeah, I have 3 billboards. I mean, it got a lot of nominations. I can't tell if it's more significant 3 billboards got into score and director, or that The Shape of Water got into supporting actress and screenplay.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is sort of if 3 billboards is going to take this out. It seems like the momentum for this film has been going reasonably strong as we've gone up towards these awards, and I wonder. But I do think that any of these 5 films could win. I wouldn't be shocked if any of them were called out because they've all got their sort of pockets of supporters. And with the Golden Globes, you've got about 90-odd people voting. So a small pocket of support can sway the race quite a bit. It won't take many votes to win a divided field.
Even Call Me By Your Name?
Oh, sorry?
Even Call Me By Your Name?
Yes, that's what I meant.
Yes, all right.
But I'm predicting 3 billboards, though. But I think Call Me By Your Name could win. I think it's a film that some people are very passionate about. And with 90 voters, I think you could have a small pocket could get over the line. It is at the moment my 5th. Yep. But when I can see my 5th winning, I'm like, boy, pretty open race.
I don't think that Call Me By Your Name has a chance in this race, but I think it actually could win both of its other races. I'm predicting Timothée Chalamet because Gary Oldman, nobody has made more disparaging comments about the HFPA than him. I think they'll take that personally because...
And this is a young actor with a great performance who you could see the Hollywood Foreign Press maybe wanting to crown.
I think it's...
Yeah, I actually have a...
You go ahead.
I
actually have Gary Oldman ranked 4th.
4th
actor.
Oh, we'll talk about this race first then, Andrew. Who do you have winning?
I also have Timothée Chalamet actually winning, but I have a hard time picturing Gary Oldman prevailing given the comments that he's made against the Hollywood Foreign Press Association a few years back. Plus, they didn't care for Darkest Hour in any of the other categories, so there doesn't seem to be much of a groundswell of support there. Even Daniel Day-Lewis and Tom Hanks are even ahead of Oldman, in my opinion.
Interesting. I've still got Oldman out in front, but these are quite convincing arguments. he is a just this performance, this role, the respect that actor has. He's not out of it, but it's a real nail biter. Well, while we're on the drama categories, what do we think about drama actress? Riley?
Yeah, along the same lines, Frances McDormand, I know she did a press conference for 3 Billboards this year, but in general, she's not one who's playing the campaign game. And, you know, that's something that we've been told many times. The 90 members of the Hollywood Foreign Press, they do like it when they receive, you know, perfume in their gift baskets, or when they're, you know, shaking people's hands and getting to know them, that kind of thing. She's been nominated several times. She's lost every single one of them, even for stuff like Olive Kitteridge, and even when she was a producer of Olive Kitteridge, she's never materialized. So this could be her year. I mean, it's not like she's spoken up against them like Gary Oldman. But I'm going with Meryl Streep because she gave the speech last year, and even though I don't think that The Post is a movie that has much of a chance in other categories, because I don't think it's something that is inspiring a lot of passion, it did get several nominations, and I think that this field is a bit open for kind of upset like that.
What do you think, Andrew?
I have Sally Hawkins winning this one. You know, she's won a Golden Globe before. And Brits, you know, have a pretty good track record in this category. If you look back to Judi Dench winning for Mrs. Brown, or Brenda Blethyn winning for Secrets and Lies. Certainly Streep could win if they want to see her up there giving a speech. The Post probably gets shut out this evening, is my guess. Frances McDormand, of course, is in there too, but she's never won in the past year. And I think Riley's right. It's because she doesn't really play the award season campaign game. They don't really look too fondly upon that, I don't think. To the campaign, the better you're looked upon by this body. And because she doesn't play that game, it hasn't worked for her in the past. I suspect may hurt her again this time around.
Well, this is interesting because Riley's going with Streep, Andrew's going with Hawkins. I think McDormand might take it out despite the lack of campaigning. I think if I see 3 Billboards winning the Best Picture award, I could see Frances McDormand coming along for the ride. And I do think this is the sort of kind of moments that could prevail here and maybe had some good momentum in the lead up to these awards. It's interesting, though, too, because in the drama film race, I'm really seeing A Shape of Water versus 3 Billboards with some sort of spoilers in there. And this race, I sort of see The Shape of Water versus 3 Billboards with some spoilers in there too. And I wonder if this will be a bit of a bellwether to the Best Picture race. What do you think, Riley?
Yeah, I think that's... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Andrew, you can go. No, continue.
No, I think that's true. I think that if McDormand wins, I suspect 3 Billboards probably is winning drama as well. And likewise with Sally Hawkins. I'm not sure if Streep win would necessarily mean The Post is winning Best Picture, though. Just be, you know, we love Meryl Streep. We want her up there to give a speech. That may be the one that doesn't quite correlate.
Yeah, I'll come back here, Andrew. Could it, though, even if it doesn't necessarily mean The Post wins Best Picture, that it shows maybe there's a weakness with the support for Shape of Water or 3 Billboards, and they might go somewhere else?
I think that's true. That if Sally Hawkins doesn't win this evening, she's probably not going to win at a body like SAG. I think that the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, you know, they tend to reward Brits, and SAG does. So yeah, it'll be interesting. You know, if Shape of Water doesn't do too well this evening, you know, it doesn't have much going on at SAG, so it may end up losing some momentum as the season goes on.
What do you think, Riley?
Yeah, I agree with Andrew. I think that if Sally Hawkins wins, then The Shape of Water is winning. Other than that, it's a little sketchy. I guess Frances McDormand, if she won too, then 3 Billboards would win.
Now, we were talking before that are the Globes going to want to share the wealth? Are they going to want to share it around? Are they going to go, well, we'll give Shape of Water lead actress, we'll give 3 Billboards Best Picture? Could it be they want to split it, like share it around that way?
I think that's possible, especially if Streep's winning, because again, I think Streep can win, but the post may not pick up anything otherwise. That could sort of be the consolation prize for the post. Chalamet could be the prize that Calling by Your Name picks up, and so on. It's possible that a lot of these films just pick up, one award during the evening.
We did see that historic sweep last year, so maybe that's, the new Golden Globes. They just take one in every category, or maybe they'll try to go completely the opposite way to make up for it. Maybe, keep all the studios happy after disappointing them last year.
Yeah.
For the Best Actress category, though, it's tricky because I'm predicting Streep for external factors, and I'm not predicting McDormand for other external factors. Nothing to do with their performances or their films.
Yes, which is sometimes the way awards work. It doesn't always go to the best performance. And look, to be fair, I think in this female actress race, we have very strong performances across the board. This is one of the strongest. This could be the strongest acting race of the night. So
yes, and even though a lot of folks at this point are predicting the same 4 or even 5 actresses in Best Actress for the Oscars. This has been one of the most chaotic and crowded and rich races among all the categories. Great vehicles for leading ladies this year. And that's certainly on display this evening, because the comedy race is pretty terrific as well.
Yeah, like you've got about 10 actresses that have fantastic performances. And if I was an Oscar voter voting for Best Lead Actress this year, I would be struggling a lot more to narrow that down to 5 names than I would be on the male side of things this year.
It's very true. And keep in mind, there were so many actresses who were potentially going to get that 5th slot in drama actress, and Michelle Williams ultimately got. But you had, Annette Bening, Jennifer Lawrence, Daniela Vega, a whole long list of actresses who are going for that 5th drama actress spot. Open because, there's so many great performances, and 4 of those slots, kind of got locked up. But so many great performances haven't been able to make the cut just because it's been such a crowded year.
Yeah. So what do we think? So I'm going to ask you guys to leave in a couple of minutes to bring on some new members of the panel. But what is a category we haven't talked about that you would like to weigh in on, Riley?
What do you think about score? Because usually the Golden Globes, they predict the Oscar winner, in which case I would say Shape of Water is winning. But there was that time a few years ago when they went for All Is Lost, because I guess Alex Ebert is more of a rock star, which fits the Johnny Greenwood Phantom Thread, template.
Yep.
Yep.
Do you have a feeling on score, Andrew?
I'm predicting Shape of Water. I think that Alexandra Desplat is, an awards favorite score. But I think Johnny Greenwood could win here. I'd be more inclined to predict him if Phantom Thread had shown up in, Best Picture or another category besides just for Day-Lewis. I'm not sure there's that much support for the film within the association. I suspect it's probably between those two, though. I suspect, John Williams probably won't win very well. But yeah, I suspect probably Desplat for Shape of Water.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe Phantom Thread. I think, like, if this were the Oscars, I'd be going with something like A Shape of Water. But I do think maybe the star power could get Phantom Thread over the line in score. While we're on music, what do you think, Riley, about song?
Song, let's see. I've just got Mighty River because I think, again, the star power. They've got to get Mary J. Blige on stage.
Yeah. Yes, that's.
Yeah, I have Coco in that one, but I could see a scenario where they do give Mudbound that one.
Look, something we need to remember is these music races can play out quite differently at the Globes to the Oscars. Often you'll have the winner at the Globes not even nominated at the Oscars. So yeah, I think Mary J. Blige is a good pick there for Mudbound. Although if this was the Oscar race, I'd be thinking more your Coco would be what would come through and prevail. Yeah.
What about
I think also,
supporting actor? I feel very confident about Christopher Plummer because they went so far as to nominate Michelle Williams and Ridley Scott. The Gold Derby's predicting Willem Dafoe. I feel like that's more of a critics thing, like a Mark Rylance kind of thing, that it's not a showy, loud performance.
Yeah, I agree, Riley. I think Christopher Plummer's got this. I think it's the win that will have the most headlines and a great feat for an actor to come in at such a last minute and give this great performance. Like, he's really strong in the film too. What do you think, Andrew?
I agree. I think it's going to be Plummer. I think if he was the sole nominee, I might be inclined to go with Dafoe here. But the fact that they liked it enough to give it Best Director and Best Actress nominations means that they quite liked the film. And if you liked the film, then you probably loved Plummer's performance in it because he's, the MVP of it.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, he might not even get an Oscar nomination for the role. Like, he's not got that on lockdown, but he's got such a good chance of winning tonight. Though, if he wins tonight and then gets an Oscar nomination, he'll be sitting in a good position, especially if he gives a good speech tonight. He'll be in the Oscar conversation for winning it.
Yeah, SAG just didn't see it at all because it wasn't done.
Yeah. Yes. So we've got what's it? Let's quickly touch on this because this can often get lost in the shuffle. What do we think about this animated feature? Has Coco just got this race, got this sort of dead to rights, or can someone upset Coco?
No chance.
I suspect it will be. Yeah, I think it's Coco. With maybe the breadwinner has, a slight chance. I think that might be, sort of a dark horse, but I see it really.
Yeah. What about foreign language film?
I think that Loveless is being vastly underestimated. I've noticed, pretty much nobody is predicting it, but that director has won before. He won a few years ago for Leviathan. He had previously been nominated for The Return, and no other group nominated The Return. No other group awarded Leviathan. They do often award the same people, like Almodovar and Amor and The White Ribbon. So I could see them going back to him. I have A Fantastic Woman just because, like I said, I was predicting too many white people, and I thought that I had to get some, social statement winners in there.
Yeah.
And I think that it's down to those two because the other ones aren't as acclaimed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also have Fantastic Woman. I probably would have predicted First They Killed My Father had it been on the foreign language film shortlist at the Oscars. They're probably not going to, because they kind of want to predict what the Oscars are going to do. But had it been on the shortlist, I expect they would have given it the win, if only to get Angelina Jolie up on stage.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got a few comments coming in on the live chat on our YouTube channel. What are they saying? Jacob Davis, if you switch from Sasha, then switch to Judi Dench, not Margot. John Lithgow is another major blow to Olin, the cool guy. Miguel Morello, Chalamet is the safe choice. And probably with some of the comments about that Gary Oldman's made about the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, it could be that Chalamet is where the safe money is. And you agree with that, Riley, correct?
I wouldn't say that he's safe, but I'm definitely going with him. And I have Gary Oldman in third.
Who's your second?
Daniel Day-Lewis, because, like he said, it's his last performance. So there's a reason to have him on stage.
Yeah, fair enough. What do we think about the comedy races? Comedy film will be down to Lady Bird versus Get Out, is what conventional wisdom is saying. Can any other film surprise there, Andrew?
I suspect Well, I guess that there's a slight chance that Tonya could win all three of its categories if they really fall hard for it. If Allison Janney and Margot Robbie both win, and they love them enough to carry it all the way to a picture win. But I suspect it is going to be a really tight one between Lady Bird and Get Out, and I have Lady Bird ultimately winning.
What do you think, Riley?
Yeah, I've got Lady Bird. I mean, it was nominated in screenplay, whereas all the other comedy nominees are missing from all the non-acting categories. We do see sometimes, like with The Hangover or Babe, where you can win comedy without any other nominations. But Lady Bird, has so much goodwill right now. I do have I, Tonya winning both the other two categories, and I do feel like that's one that was kind of underestimated early on. It wasn't pegged to place at Toronto, it got runner-up, and now it's getting PJ and a bunch of other nominations. So I think it's one that's playing really well when people actually watch it, which gives it some upset potential.
I do wonder, like, with Get Out, like, it's sort of not clearly a comedy movie, which hasn't always mattered with the Globes in the past, but I wonder in such a tight race whether that will also hurt Get Out. That some people don't really see it as a comedy, and it's a bit easier to tick off Lady Bird.
Yeah, that's part of why I went with The Big Short a few years ago, because, well, first of all, it was something of an Oscar frontrunner at the time, but then the Globes just doubled down and said, no, The Martian's a comedy, and they awarded it comedy and also actor.
Yeah. What do we think about the what's a bold prediction you have, Riley, in the TV races?
TV races. So I've got Jason Bateman for Ozark. Most of the users have Sterling K. Brown for This Is Us. Most of the users and editors who generally do the best have Freddie Highmore. I don't see Freddie Highmore winning because I think that his show is just not good enough. It's got 53 on Metacritic. We've seen many times where the Globes will nominate somebody from, a nighttime soap or some, kind of trashy USA show, and they never go the distance, except for Taraji P. Henson in Empire, which apparently was actually critically acclaimed. But they passed over Viola Davis. They passed over, Piper Perabo and Callie Thorne and Kerry Washington and Connie Britton. I think that the Globes, they like their prestige. They like their streaming shows. I don't see them going for a medical procedural that's not well reviewed. So then I have it down to Sterling K. Brown, who won the Emmy, and Jason Bateman. But I feel like the Globes in recent years, they've just been going for the new kind of no matter what, even if they plan on ditching it a year later. So I think Sterling K. Brown is too old news, even though he has not won a Globe, and the show has only been on for 1.5 seasons. Jason Bateman fits the mold of last year's winner, Billy Bob Thornton, in that he's a past Globe winner for TV. He's a movie star. Now he's coming to television to make a tepidly received drama on a streaming service. And last year, Netflix won series and actress for The Crown. So I think they might want to give it kind of a legacy win.
Watch out for Freddie Highmore, though, to Riley as the sort of new hot thing on a big hit show. TV thought? And as you give it, I would like to ask and Charles Bright to join the chat if they can. Okay, continue, Andrew.
I suppose my big upset prediction would be Jessica Biel winning TV movie miniseries actress for The Sinner, honor Nicole Kidman in Big Little Lies. The fact that The Sinner was able to get a TV movie miniseries nomination, Biel's nomination, I think is indicative of a lot of support for it. And I think that there's obvious vote splitting potential among both the Big Little Lies and the Feud women up in this category. So that's my prediction. And, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. No, very much. So what do you think about that, Riley?
Yeah, no, I'm very tempted by Jessica Biel. Also tempted to go away from Big Little Lies in the TV supporting actor race. We saw last year where The People versus O.J. Simpson swept the Emmys. Did not happen at all at the Globes because, for one thing, the Globes like The Night Manager, but we also suspect that the Globes, they want to do their own thing. And I think everybody's predicting The Handmaid's Tale to win drama and actress. Everybody's predicting Big Little Lies and Laura Dern. So there's got to be some diversion from the Emmys.
Yes. No, that sort of makes sense. I'll have a quick look at the YouTube streaming to see what people are saying. Miguel says Del Toro for the Golden Globes. Do we think he's going to win Best Director, guys?
Yep.
What do you think, Andrew?
Best Director? Yes, I do think so. But again, he's not a lock. There's really no locks this evening. I suspect he probably will, given all the nominations that Shape of Water received.
Yeah. And Jim Graham gives us the comment on YouTube. Del Toro seems more realistic for the Oscars since no screenplay and acting nominations also don't help Nolan. So, Riley, do you like... we've got Joyce and Charles here, so I might ask you, Andrew, to close the box. Just press a little X on your window. And thank you for joining us, Andrew.
Thank you. Thoughts. Have fun.
Get out of here.
Okay, I'm now joined by Charles Bright and Joyce Eng, is it?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Joyce. Now, Joyce, what's the category you've got your eyes most keenly on for the Golden Globes today?
Probably drama picture. I have no idea. I still have to post right now, but I can be convinced to change it to anything in the next 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, before Paul shuts down that prediction center at Gold Derby. Why are you going with the post?
I put it in there like right after nominations, like, sight unseen, and it got 6 nominations, and just with the pedigree behind it. And after I made my other picks and I spread it out between like Shape of Water and 3 Billboards, would they really let the post go home empty-handed? It got 6 nominations. It's been so long since a film with at least 6 nominations went home empty-handed. Godfather Part 3 went over 7. Godfather Part 2 went over 6. So, and it could just be one of those movies that just wins nothing else but the top prize, like 12 Years a Slave and Moonlight. Or it could even be like a Babel, because I don't think the post is winning the Oscar Best Picture like the other 2.
Yeah. Charles, what are you thinking?
I've been struggling on this one too, and as Joyce knows, because I met her up in New York, it's really great to see you now in the true form of that little box on the webcam thing. It really puts things in perspective. I just recently switched to the post. I had Shape of Water in there for a while, but I think because it's a press organization, and I know some of us who were predicting Spotlight in this exact race a couple of years ago, and I was one of those people, we thought they might respond to it because they're a press organization. But this movie has a lot more, I don't want to say substance, but a lot more action than Spotlight. And I think they're going to respond to that, and particularly with the statement that it would make to reward that, I think is something that's too irresistible to the HFPA.
I do think like the year the Babel won is an interesting one to think about, because that was a year when there was no clear Oscar Best Picture sort of front runner that year. And it sort of maybe freed up the Globes voters to vote for the film that they enjoyed the most or appealed the most to their sensibilities. And I wonder if this year, with there being no clear Oscar front runner for them to either anoint or tear down, they will feel the freedom to go with a film that appeals most to their sensibilities, which now I am in my head, the cogs are turning as to what film that might be. Do you have a thought, Riley? You want to chip in?
Well, maybe they won't go with the post because it's not July.
Okay.
We've all updated our predictions since then.
Yeah. So what do you think the comedy side? What film are you are you leaning towards over there?
I have Lady Bird.
Yep, Lady Bird. Charles, what do you think?
I have Lady Bird. That was interesting. I have Lady Bird as well, but I was listening to your last segment, talking about if Lady Bird can't win, who does? And I know there was some thinking that maybe it's Get Out, maybe it's I, Tonya. I would put the Disaster Artist in there as well because they did nominate both that and Franco. This is a film that has just really been embraced by the Hollywood community, and I think that it's so unbelievably wonderfully over the top that it might just have that inside track. But that's, again, if Lady Bird doesn't win Best Picture, musical or comedy, which I absolutely think it will.
Do you, Charles, think James Franco is winning lead actor?
Yes.
Yes. Do you think that?
Yeah, no question.
No question.
Well, okay. I really should back that up because, God, that has been so many of us in the ass so many times. But I think it seems like the safest pick. The Globes like Franco. They gave him an award before he was this big star when he was playing James Dean in the TV movie miniseries category. So I think, and this was a real passion project of his, and I think that performance is really just going to resonate.
I think Daniel Kaluuya wins. I think this is where Get Out wins an award tonight. I think he is gives a great performance in that too, and I just feel like that's where the Globes can support Get Out by giving it to the leading man from the show. I'll weigh in on this.
I think, like, if they wanted to give Get Out something, I think the split would be Get Out for comedy musical film. So that way Jordan can give the speech as opposed to Daniel. And I think James would still win actor. James was on, I think it was Conan last month, and he said the HFPA really responded to Disaster Artist so much that they requested a separate press conference with Tommy Wiseau. So I feel like if they're going to do that actual split, they'll want to reward James for playing Tommy.
And Tommy is James's guest this evening. So, here's hoping.
They did.
Riley, what do you think about this?
On the TV side, they didn't nominate him for The Deuce, even though they nominated his co-star Maggie Gyllenhaal.
I feel like they've stopped doing like those double nominations now because last year everyone thought Viola was going to get 2 nominations for Fences and Murder, and we know like they feel like obligated to nominate her for Murder the first year, and then they just dropped her. So I feel like that was a similar situation. Like they knew they were going to give it to her for Fences, and they cleared up that space in drama actress on the TV side for somebody else.
They do have like the Mark Rylance or the Idris Elba though, like even in the same year.
Yeah. Jim Graham at YouTube.
I'll tell you what though, Matt.
Sorry.
I'll tell you what, Matt. If you're right about this, I owe you a Coke.
Fantastic. I don't drink
It'll
Coke,
be a couple
but anyway,
because that's when we'll run into each other. But the offer stands.
Yeah. Can I go with a Sprite or something like that? Does it have to be can I pick another soda option, Charles?
Go nuts.
Okay, fantastic. Great. Boy, a lot's on the line now. If you weren't excited about the Globes, a soda drink is now on the line. What about comedy actress? Saoirse Ronan looks like she's got it in the bag, I would say, but I could be wrong. What do you think, Joyce?
I have Saoirse just because she's on her 3rd nomination, but I could see both Lady Bird actresses winning, or both I, Tonya ladies winning, or a split between one for each. And I can't decide like which combo makes the most sense because I can see like all 4 scenarios happening. Right now I have Saoirse, and I just switched to Allison Janney for supporting.
Yeah. If I, Tonya wins both, Joyce, do you all of a sudden start to think, oh, it could win Best Picture? Or do you think that will be the I, Tonya sort of reward the acting wins?
I feel like those, like, it could just be like the acting wins. Like, it could kind of be like Dallas Buyers Club. Like, Dallas Buyers Club wasn't nominated for picture at the Globes, but I feel like that it's this a similar type of vehicle.
Yeah,
and it could still make Best Picture at the Oscars.
Yeah, no, for sure. Charles, what do you think about the actress race?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Joyce on this one. I think Saoirse wins this one. Although it feels, I don't know, from what I've been reading, it feels like I, Tonya has really been making this late surge, and I could easily see Margot Robbie possibly winning this. It's such a broad year with so many great nominees in a lot of these categories that it's hard to just say that this one is out front. But it just Saoirse kind of makes sense.
Yeah. So, Riley, do you want to weigh in on this?
Sure. I think that if you take a step back from the reviews and everything, then you've got Saoirse Ronan playing a teenager, and you've got Margot Robbie undergoing a physical transformation, giving kind of a broader performance, I guess you could say, one that more easily ticks all the bait boxes that we're always looking for. But I do think that, as we saw last year with Isabelle Huppert triumphing over Natalie Portman, that sometimes the Hollywood Foreign Press, they do get caught up in the kind of critical momentum of a film, or maybe they just feel it themselves as well, since they are journalists. So I do have Margot Robbie, but I think that Saoirse Ronan could get swept along, even if she doesn't fit the normal mold of a winner.
Yeah. We talked a bit about, this would probably be a good chance to transition to Best Supporting Actress, to see what we think about that. It's a big showdown. Laurie Metcalf versus Allison Janney. Joyce, who are you giving the edge to in this race? I know you said you've been tossing and turning over it.
Yeah, I just switched to Allison last night because I was like, I feel like they're going to give I, Tonya something, and I couldn't decide where to go. So I just switched to her. But I could totally see Laurie winning, because a lot of times they just, there's at least one race where they just go with the critical consensus all the way through. And Laurie's been that. I thought Allison would put up much more of a resistance against her during the critics run up, but she hasn't really. So, but it's the louder performance, it's flashier. So I could see her winning that. So I have her down for that right now, but I can totally see Laurie going away with it.
What do you think, Charlie?
I've had Laurie Metcalf since the beginning, and I've never, or maybe I'd had Allison Janney, but I've had Laurie Metcalf for a while, and I just haven't felt this reason to switch to Allison Janney yet. I don't think it's beyond. I don't think it's beyond comprehension that she could win, but I think this is probably it feels safe that Laurie is probably the one that will win this.
Riley?
I have Allison Janney because she's giving the louder performance. I expected her to, put up more of a fight as well, but then I actually saw the film, and she disappears after the first third when Tonya moves out.
And she has a line about it as well.
Yes, exactly. But I think the Globes, we saw them not go with Mahershala Ali last year. They didn't go with Mark Rylance. They like their louder performances. And, if it's a 2-horse race, I'll go with the louder one.
And I feel like it still wouldn't hurt Laurie. I still have Laurie winning the Oscar. So I feel like even if she loses the Globe here, I don't think that would affect her chances going forward.
I do think, though, Allison Janney wins this, as we're talking about her putting up a bigger resistance to Laurie Metcalf in this award season. It would all of a sudden, I think, put the two on a very even keel heading into future awards and Oscar nominations and things like that. So I do think it would shake up the race a little bit, in that I'm sort of in my head seeing this race the whole time. Well, Laurie Metcalf's out in front, just behind, then some other people. And it's sort of hard to know how Allison can overtake Laurie. A win tonight would really, I think, give her a much better shot at future awards, because all of a sudden she'll be seen as a winner, particularly if she gives a great acceptance speech. So, is there thinking about this and looking, what do you think, what win or loss tonight would mean the most for the Oscars moving forward, would change the way you are thinking about the Oscars this year, Joyce?
I don't know, because I mean, I can see like Gary losing, but it's like that makes sense. Maybe some like drama actress, probably, because it's weird because I think everyone has like the same consensus 5, but no one has settled on like who will actually win it all. So it might provide a little bit more clarity tonight, but who knows? I have Frances right now, but I don't feel confident about that.
Yeah. What do you think, Riley?
I'll say comedy actress. I think that if Margot Robbie loses, then she's out. I have her winning both Globe and Oscar right now.
Whoa, you got Margot Robbie winning the Oscar. So when you say she's out, do you mean you don't think she'd get a nomination, or that you don't think she can win the Oscar?
I don't think that she can win. I have her winning right now because even though Tonya came out, months ago for critics, SAG only received it one day before they received their screeners of The Post. So, you say that maybe people saw Tonya at various SAG screenings, but they did have 19 screenings for SAG of The Post, and it still wasn't enough because it's just so late. They had already received like 58 movies by the time they got either of them. So I think it's indicative that Tonya was able to get those nominations, whereas The Post and Phantom Thread did not get any SAG nominations.
Yeah. Charles, what will change the way you're thinking about the Oscar race the most tonight?
It's actually interesting. I actually think that the supporting actor race is kind of screwing with my head a little bit. And I think I know that, at least as of right now, our friend Chris Beecham has Armie Hammer winning that. If that actually comes to fruition, a badly needed boost for his Oscar prospects, because that's missing out at SAG was such a blow. And also the film missing the ensemble nomination was such a blow to that film and its prospective Oscar chances. So I really think that could reshape the Best Supporting Actor race. I have Sam Rockwell in that race right now with Armie Hammer at number 2 and Christopher Plummer at number 3. So I'm just not sure what to make of that. But the Armie Hammer win actually would make a lot of sense, and that'd be very interesting to see if that could give him that boost right as Oscar nomination voting is happening.
I do think, like, you touch on something interesting there, Charles, whereas I don't necessarily think a Golden Globe win puts you on the path to win an Oscar. I think sometimes even Oscar voters don't want to be seen as just copying the Golden Globe winners and just being like following a crowd. But for someone like a Hammer, the thing I think the Globes and the Screen Actors Guild provide is an opportunity for someone to get attention that no one's really talking about as a winner yet. And in his case, that would be what happens, is that all of a sudden he's up on the stage winning an award. He might give a great speech, and then people will then start considering, oh, do I want to vote for him or not? And I think that's probably where you could see the biggest shift in an Oscar race. If it's someone that we're not really thinking of as an Oscar winner wins and starts to enter people's sort of mindset as, will they be someone who can win an Oscar now? And people will maybe give them consideration that they didn't before. So I think it's good.
But specifically for Hammer, though, as I said, this is just about him getting nominated in the first place. Yeah. Because especially with that SAG miss, that's really hurt his chances. And he's gone from someone who's been pretty much a presumptive nominee in anyone's 5 to basically, for a lot of people, either cutting him off or putting him towards the bottom. So this could give him that really nice shot in the arm that could catapult to a nomination, possibly a win even.
What do you think, Riley?
And over Michael Stuhlbarg too, because he's been fighting with him for one of maybe 2 slots, but we haven't had double nominees in that category in years.
Riley, what are your thoughts?
It's tricky for Hammer too because he hasn't won any critics awards. He hasn't gotten runner-up anywhere, and the Oscars have that different voting system where it's all about the number 1 votes. So if he can't even get in when they're just allowed to, you know, rank 5, it's harder to see him get in at the Oscars, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I think something that could help him with the Oscars is it does seem Call Me By Your Name does have passionate support amongst people who love it, really love it. And I imagine that will be the case for Hammer's performance in that too. And with the Oscars, they use a preferential ballot so that those number 1 and number 2 votes count a lot more than they otherwise would, than they do in other award counting where it's sort of, I don't know, 5 points for 1, 4 points for 2, when each vote counts for 1 point. They actually, you need to get sort of 1/5 of all votes need to end up going your way the way it pans out. So, 1/6 plus 1 of votes. So that could really help Hammer secure that Oscar nomination if the passionate number 1, number 2 votes are behind him. With the Golden Globes this year, well, the year in general, the past year has been a very politically charged year, and also with the Me Too campaign, all the Harvey Weinstein things, something that's particularly been relevant in Hollywood, a lot of issues. And Seth Meyers is hosting this year. Is he the right person to be hosting this year, and what are expectations for him, Joyce?
Yeah, better him than Jimmy Fallon, who would not touch anything with a 10-foot pole. So, like, yeah, Seth is perfect. You know, his closer looks on his regular show are fantastic. He's not afraid to go there. He's smart. He can think on his feet, unlike Jimmy, as we saw last year again. So I think, you know, it's going to be a good monologue. I don't know what else he would do during the night. Make probably some tape bits, I'm assuming, but I'm not really into like the host, like, stuff. Like, I just want to get to the awards. So, yeah.
Charles, do you have an opinion? Seth Meyers?
I just got to echo what Joyce said, because she took the words right out of my mouth. You know, this red folder would do a better job than Jimmy Fallon did last year. So I'm just like, you know, I think he's a good choice. I think he'll hopefully hit the right tone. Joking about everything that's happened over the past year, but also, giving the verbal punch in the face that certainly some people from the past year do deserve. So I think he'll be a very good person for this type of thing, especially because a lot more people it's a bit more of a looser feel to it. So I think his smart ass style will work a lot better there than, say, it did at the Emmys when he hosted, which I thought he was an all right host, but there was still a bit of friction there when he hosted.
Because it was on a Monday.
That's right, it was.
Yeah.
Stupid football.
But he's used to hosting a show on a Monday. That should have been more comfortable for him. I think he's got the perfect sensibility for the time we have, and I think he'd be a host I think would do a good job any year, but I think particularly this year he will do very well and much better than other hosts might have done. Riley?
Yeah, I liked it when he hosted the Emmys, and I'll just say I liked Jimmy Fallon last year hosting the Globes more than I've ever liked Jimmy Fallon before. He had some, political jokes, which I don't know if he was that comfortable telling, but I thought they were funny.
Yeah. Oh, well, good to good not to just pile in on Jimmy Fallon. I'm glad we got some mixed thoughts on that. On the
in
panel.
General, though, yeah.
Okay, well let's backhand a compliment from Riley on Jimmy Fallon. But what's a race choice we haven't talked about yet that you'd like to weigh in on?
I have no idea what to do with foreign language film. I just switched 3 times in the last 24 hours. I just switched to A Fantastic Woman literally an hour ago.
Yes.
Well, I think the category is invalid because it doesn't actually have the best foreign language film in this category, BPM, which, just breaks my heart. And, to know that the Golden Globes spit on the memory of the AIDS crisis in France. So, that's their thing and that's their thing. So that's good for them. But I have The Square. which has been, it seems like press people really dig this movie. Although it has been very divisive, and even when it won the Palme d'Or in Cannes, it was a very divisive win in terms of how the press received it. But I think this is the kind of thing that they would just go for. Though I think Riley had a great point about Loveless. Andrei, I believe Zvyagintsev is the director's name.
Yeah.
Zvyagintsev, yes. He won for Leviathan, so I think I have him at number 3. I have First They Kill My Father at number 2 right now. But I think The Square is just the kind that could just sneak in and take it.
Yeah, Riley, you've given your thoughts on this race already, but has anything percolated in the time since, or with Joyce's or Charles's comments?
No, nothing's going on up here.
Okay, as per usual. So we've got Charlie, was there a race that you wanted to touch on that we haven't touched on yet?
Well, we haven't touched on any of the TV races.
Okay, crack one of them open for us.
I'm very divided about TV comedy actor. I finally listened to the Golden Globes podcast with Joyce on TV categories, and I had Aziz Ansari since the nominations came out, with Kevin Bacon at number 2, but I finally just decided to give in to the consensus, and I put Eric McCormack at number 1, though I don't know. I know he hosted the whole 75th anniversary special, but I don't know if the Globes would necessarily give him a trophy for that. I honestly don't know, but I just decided better be, if it seems more likely than not, I'll just go with it.
Mm-hmm. Joyce, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I can see anybody winning in that category. I just went with Eric because I just feel like the Globes would know about Will and Grace's losing streak over 27. And I don't think it's winning comedy series. And I feel like they don't want to have more egg on their face and make it go over 29. Like they know about it and they just want to give one to them so they can have a win. And I think it helps that the other 3 actors were not nominated. So they could, if they wanted to vote for Will and Grace and give them a win finally, they could just vote for Eric.
Yeah. Riley?
I've got Eric McCormack in 4th. I think that, they have to give This Is Us and Will and Grace some nominations because it's NBC. But I do think that the Globes, they've been moving so far away from that. They love Amazon, right? I don't see them going back to a multi-camera sitcom, compelling as the arguments are. I initially had Aziz Ansari, but I've since switched to Kevin Bacon because, he's the movie star. And I've got Anthony Anderson in 2nd because I wonder if this is another one of those like Kevin Spacey, Robin Wright, or Ruth Wilson, Maura Tierney things where they award one person one year and then somebody else the next.
Yeah. I think I've got Aziz here. I think he's the cool, buzzy guy that will appeal to the Golden Globe voter sensibilities. So I'm pretty confident with Aziz. So it's interesting. I'm the only one on the panel predicting him, and I guess we will see what happens in that race. Is there a TV race, Joyce, that you'd like to talk about?
I still have Jessica Biel winning, beating Nicole Kidman. I don't know if I'm crazy or not to keep her there because I put her there right after nominations. And now I feel like I have to stick with her since I've had her there for a month already.
Yeah.
But I can't see the Globes duplicating all of the Emmy wins. And I still have Alexander Skarsgård and Laura Dern winning the supporting categories. So I feel like Nicole can still get her Globe with the series win for Big Little Lies. And they just love The Sinner. It got in for series. And they like USA. So that's like, another check mark under USA for them. Keep them happy. And she's the profile of like your typical Globes actress one.
Yeah. Charles?
I originally had Nicole Kidman in there, but then I switched, I think a week or 2 weeks ago to Jessica Biel. for all the reasons that Joyce just said. She fits the profile of the winner. This was a series that they obviously responded to because they also nominated the series in the mini movie category, and also she just fits that profile.
Yeah. Riley?
Yeah, another good. Yeah, they like to spread the wealth in the TV categories as well as on the film side. Like last year, we saw The Night Manager win a lot and FX win a lot, but usually there are like 8 or 9 different networks that are picking something up. So we don't want to be giving like too many awards to HBO, I think, in our prediction. So I like the Jessica Biel prediction. I really wanted to hear from Paul because he still has Nicole, and he's usually pretty good at hedging his bets.
Isn't it? It's the first category of the night, isn't it? So we'll know right away.
There we go. Exciting. So I still have Nicole. I think, I do
Let's
think.
hear it.
Well, sorry. Let's hear. Well, I think the Golden Globes love Nicole Kidman.
They do. That's why I'm hesitant, because I'm like, am I really stupid for doing this? Because they gave her her first major win for To Die For. She has 3 of these. Yeah. So we know they love her.
And they were the ones that. Yeah, and they were the ones that started the ball rolling for her to win the Oscar for The Hours. She hadn't picked up really any critics' prizes.
Yeah, it was all Julianne Moore.
It was all Julianne Moore or Diane Lane, and then she won there. And she still lost SAG, but the momentum from the Globe kept going for her to win.
Yeah. She won for Moulin Rouge as well at the Globes, which she wasn't able to win for at the Oscars. And they nominated her for movies like Birth and Rabbit Hole and The Paper Boy. And I think they love Nicole Kidman, the Globes. And she's so great and such a big part of Big Little Lies, not just on screen, but behind the scenes. I just think she's probably winning. But Jessica Biel could. Oh, no, here we go. Tom O'Neill.
We got grifters getting in here. Get out. Get out.
And look where I'm at. I'm up in Pennsylvania in front of my fireplace in the Pocono Mountains, surrounded by snow. My favorite place.
So you've gotten as far away from the Golden Globes as you could today, Tom. You are. Yeah.
You noticed when you came into town for the Emmys, Matt, I was passing out tickets to you guys eagerly. And you must think, well, why doesn't Tom want to go to an award show? After 30 years, I think I've been to enough award shows.
Okay. But you still know a bit about them, Tom. And I might at this point ask, who else is meant to be joining us at this time? It's meant to be Daniel Montgomery, Amanda Spears, and Tony, if you all want to join. And Riley, I might ask you to drop out now since you've been here with us for a bit. And I'll
great job, Riley.
Yeah, no, really good job. We'll speak to you after the show, right?
All right. Next time, feel free to just eject me mid-sentence. Okay.
So, Tom, what's at the forefront of your mind in the Poconos?
The Golden Globes just don't make sense. We know that in general they don't, but the predictions at Gold Derby don't make sense. And this is where I need the help of all of you, because the theory goes this way. Best drama picture is either between The Post or Shape of Water. And the overwhelming majority of experts at Gold Derby are saying that it's Shape of Water. I've heard, while talking to members, I've actually heard both. I've heard a lot of votes for both films. And there is a possibility, by the way, of an upset by 3 billboards. It has extraordinary love among the members, and it overperformed in the nominations everywhere, including Martin McDonagh got in for director. So anyway, the idea is this, let's say it's Shape of Water. Most experts have Shape of Water winning drama picture. Del Toro will win will win director. But then they don't give their prediction for Best Actress to Sally Hawkins, who is, of course, the throbbing, lovely heart of that film. They give it to Frances McDormand, and that's inconsistent. So, Joyce, are you one of the experts doing that? Explain this to me. I mean, if you're going for Shape of Water everywhere, how do you suddenly switch for actors?
I don't know. I feel like I have Frances down mostly to give 3 billboards a win.
Okay.
So that's the only one I have 3 billboards getting right now. So I feel like if they want to spread the wealth, do the complete opposite from last year when La La Land won everything, then like that's where I think it's either that or screenplay, but I have not La La Land, Lady Bird winning screenplay. So that's my only logic for picking Frances. But I can see Sally winning totally. And
but you're with me. Yeah. You say The Post will win Best Drama Picture, right?
I still have The Post. It's too late to switch now, so I have The Post. I could just it could totally be one of those movies that just win drama picture and nothing else.
Yeah, my thinking on The Post winning is this. I know that they all loved it. In fact, they complained that it was perfect Spielberg again, as if perfect is a bad thing. But they do admire it. Remember, these are foreigners, and I think they have that kind of insecurity about that foreigners have, which is, they have real reverence for America. This movie gives them a chance to send a message to Washington, and it stars all of this royalty. But also it's about journalists, and they're journalists themselves, of course. So I think the way that they love to divide movies wins up. I think this is where they honor The Post, and then they give Del Toro director. They do really, really love 3 Billboards. I think you're going to be right about that. And then we get into some mystery areas. Let's just stay with that line of thought. Daniel, pipe in here. What's going to win drama picture and why?
I've got The Post for all the reasons that you mentioned. I had Meryl for a while, but I got on the Frances McDormand bandwagon. So I actually think that if The Post wins another award, I think we need to watch out for screenplay, because I feel like they could give it that second win there, they could give it to Lady Bird, but Lady Bird will probably already be taken care of in the comedy categories. They could give it to 3 Billboards, but if they give it to Frances McDormand, then they don't have to. So if they really want to spread the wealth, but they don't want to be like last year and just give their best drama picture just the one award, they could give it screenplay as sort of a way to kind of reverse engineer, justify their pick for best film.
Yeah. Who else has some thoughts here?
We might be getting a bit crowded. I might ask Charles and Joyce to drop out, and we'll speak to both of you after the show, I think.
Never.
Bye.
Yeah.
By the way, Tony, nasty woman.
Thank you.
And he just drops out.
Okay. So we've luckily gotten Charles off the chat. So who else? Amanda or Tony, do you have some thoughts on the discussion that was just happening?
I've been predicting The Post since day one.
Okay.
It just seems like such a no-brainer, a film about not just what I think it was what Tom was saying about like the reverence for America, and the fact that it's a journalistic movie. It's about freedom of the press in an atmosphere when the press is being attacked more than it ever has before. And for a group like this, that's catnip to them. You put the combination of Meryl's epic takedown last year, them voting, he's talking about putting out this biggest fake news award and really just going after journalists. It's like catnip to Globe voters.
Do you think Meryl Streep wins too, Tony? On that,
I'm predicting. I'm predicting her. In some ways, feel more confident about her than I do about the film. She's Meryl Streep. She's the biggest Globe winner among actors, and they what another chance to give them to put her up on that stage and see what she says this year.
What do you think, Amanda?
Yeah, I believe I made some changes this morning, so I'm like 95% sure I'm still with The Post and Meryl winning. But this has just been like the most nauseating year, because I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I can just see so many upsets going on that it's kind of crazy, because usually you take 1 or 2 very calculated risks and that's it. And this year it's like you could just go kind of crazy, and I think writing is going to be one of those very interesting categories where I think almost all of them could win.
Yeah.
And I think we don't no one's mentioned it yet, but don't count out Aaron Sorkin and Molly's Game. It's the only adapted screenplay. He won 2 years ago when no one saw it coming, and he was snubbed at the Oscars. So he could absolutely pull it off. The Post could still win writing. One of those screenwriters was involved in Spotlight, and he didn't win. So it's going to be an interesting year. It's going to be an interesting ceremony.
Speaking of Aaron Sorkin, let me throw this little story in really quickly here. I was talking with Chris Beecham earlier today, and he was representing us at BAFTA Tea yesterday at the Four Seasons, which is the coolest party of any party you could go to in Hollywood all year. That's where you want to go. It's one room, packed shoulder to shoulder. It's called the Big Squeeze. And you're in there with Leo DiCaprio and Spielberg, and everybody's famous but you. And you just think, oh my God, this is awards heaven here. Well, Chris went yesterday, and at one point when it got so squeezy tight, he left the main room to go out in the lobby just to kind of catch his breath. Allison Janney, of course, runs up to us. She was there. She ran up to Chris. There's no one in this room in the outer lobby, by the way. So Chris and Allison Janney are chit-chatting back and forth. Of course, she is a huge awards magnet, so she loves us and the discussions we have. And then out of the ballroom comes Aaron Sorkin this way, and out of the entrance to the hotel this way comes Bradley Whitford. So you have this West Wing collision going on right in front of Chris. And he orchestrated to make everybody stop and talk to each other and made sure somebody took a picture of the moment. Isn't that funny?
Oh,
I think Matt's dying a little inside.
I know. Matt, you need to take 5 minutes. It's okay.
Why wasn't I in LA this week?
I don't know. You screwed up the last time we had you out here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But no, it's so exciting. And so Aaron Sorkin could win. That wouldn't shock me. I wonder if the fact that he won for Steve Jobs 2 years ago, though, makes them less likely to win now. They sort of gave it to him. He didn't end up even getting nominated for the Oscar. I wonder if they'll want to throw it somewhere else.
Well, I don't think he wins. No.
Yeah.
No, he's going to win. I'm just saying, I think in that category, you could make the case for almost any of them winning.
Yeah,
I think that's fair. Well, Tom, what's another race you want to delve into? What's been keeping you?
Here's where we get supporting actor. This is so fascinating.
Okay.
Remember, they saw All the Money in the World. They were the first people to see it. Matter of fact, they voted the day after they saw the HFPA members, after they saw it, All the Money in the World. And that's why it got 3 nominations. It's surprising that Ridley Scott gets nominated and it doesn't get nominated for drama film, but the Globes are notoriously crazy, of course. I've spoken to a lot of sources on this who all say the same thing, and that is that the Globe voters really were wowed by Christopher Plummer, just totally wowed by him. And there's a strong likelihood that he'll win, and I've got him winning now myself. But this is a case of where, look, this category last year was won by Aaron Taylor Johnson, right? And everyone said, who? What? And it was a case of this British actor who was very good pals with HFPA and was hobnobbing with them all the time. And they kept going, oh, and this was Nocturnal Animals was the movie. And they said, the HFPA members, oh, isn't it amazing? Aaron has this, he can pull off an American accent on screen. And he just charmed them. The same way that Armie Hammer is doing right now. Armie Hammer is with them everywhere. He was at their installation of officers lunch a couple months ago. He was a key speaker there, and on and on and on. He's very good at working these people. And so we could have another Aaron Taylor Johnson moment, and it would be Armie. But yet, if there's all this love for 3 Billboards, there's a good case can be made for Sam Rockwell popping up here. This is a toss-up. I could see it going any which way. Chris was telling me earlier today that he's hearing a lot of support for Willem Dafoe. He's there at the Globes now. Somebody else pipe in here.
I'm with you with Christopher Plummer. I think it's such a great performance, and he's the hero that saved the movie. I think he'll win. I think he'll get a BAFTA nomination, and we could see another Christoph Waltz kind of situation where he doesn't need the SAG.
Good point.
Yeah, I think Plummer's really is what's been surprising to me is, and especially when Tom, when you say that they saw it and then voted the next day, the interesting thing about this, about what I've read about this film, is just people expected Plummer to maybe go in and do a couple of scenes, but what I think is surprising to people is how much of the film he's in.
Yes,
and you miss him when he's gone.
Minutes, yeah,
and when he's not in the film, you're like, when's he coming back? And then there's also that subconscious thing about how did they pull that off? And so I think that could seriously play into him winning. And I do think we're underestimating the possibility of him going even farther than just the Globes.
Daniel, pick up here.
Sorry,
Daniel, if Plummer wins here at the Globes tonight, does he automatically win the Oscar next? Or not automatically, but will he win the Oscar next? What's your opinion?
I don't have him in my Oscar predictions for a nomination just yet. I'm kind of I'm holding off. Well, I've still got time. The voting is only happening now. For Oscars started on Friday, so there's still time. If he wins the Globe, that's going to give him a lot of momentum. If he scores the BAFTA nomination, then he's in my predictions pretty easily. To win, though, it'll be interesting because we don't have a really stable frontrunner like maybe Laurie Metcalf for supporting actress feels like at this point. It could go to Willem Dafoe. Sam Rockwell is in a film that looks like it's going to be more of a contender for Best Picture overall. So with a divided field, I think that especially helps Christopher Plummer at the Globes. And then as that continues to go on, that would definitely help him at the Oscars. He'd be the oldest winner. And he's such a beloved veteran that I don't think they would, think twice about giving him a second Oscar in like 5 years. I think they would be perfectly happy to do that, especially given how long he went without any nominations in his career. So yeah, I'm going to see how the rest of this week turns out, but I am predicting him to win the Globe tonight.
And you have to take into account the fact that, if you look at who's nominated in that category at SAG, you've got both Sam Rockwell and Woody Harrelson. Well, when was the last time two supporting actors got nominated from the same movie at the Oscars?
I think they could.
I think it's possible, but it's such a rare occurrence that you have to consider that there's going to be an open slot there. And plus, isn't Steve Carell nominated at SAG? And
I think he's the one that gets out. I think he's the one. I think you remove Steve Carell and put in Christopher Plummer, and there's your Oscar 5.
I think with Chris, I was going to say with Christopher Plummer, what really helps him at the Globes today, but also with the Oscars, is there's a story behind the performance. There's like a narrative. There was this crisis that speaks to a particular time in Hollywood right at the moment. He came in at the last minute. They shot it in like record time, all that sort of stuff. There's a good story arc for him, and it's a great performance too. And I think that's going to help him, and that's why he's going to get over the line today. And it will help him on the road to Oscar as well. However, it will be interesting to see like a 3 Billboards, how its momentum tracks through the season, because that could really help. Or Call Me By Your Name, because that could help those supporting guys. So I don't think the Oscars is as clear-cut as it is today.
Right. Right now, my prediction for supporting actor is Michael, the winner is Stuhlbarg. I will change to Plummer immediately. I have Plummer for the Globes, but if Plummer does win for the Globes, then I will switch immediately to. But let's talk about Best Actor now, Best Drama Actor, because this again has inside Globe knowledge that you need to know to make a smart prediction here. And the narrative is this: they love Gary Oldman. They agree that it's a towering performance. But he trashed them, the members of the HFPA, in an interview with Playboy years ago. And it's coming back to haunt him now. And a lot of them are going, oh, that's terrible. Others, the younger members of HFPA, go, who cares? He's right. It wasn't even that bad. I forget the exact wording, if any of you guys remember. But it was, anyway, it's a factor.
He called them meaningless.
What's that?
He called them meaningless. And I think he said there were like 100 people having a wank.
Oh, that's right, and wankers. That's right. I forgot about that. Oh, well, maybe it was bad. but the point is that it's a factor. and if that's the case, then Timothée Chalamet emerges here as a darling on the stage and wins and can be propelled Oscar bound. Who has a strong opinion either way of how this race goes?
I don't think it's going to affect him because Sean Penn did the same thing and still went on to win a Globe for oh gosh, the movie just escaped me. The Clint Eastwood, yeah, for Mystic River. So I don't think they remember as well as we do. And if they just brought this up right after voting closed, it might just be too late. I don't know how many of them.
The discussion's been going on for a while.
Well, I don't know how many of them are willing to do that, especially if he's such a heavy front runner to win the Oscar. Right. They don't want to be the ones to look like fools at the end of this. I think if they could go back in time, they probably would have given Mahershala Ali that Golden Globe.
Well, have you heard, Tom, much passion amongst Globe voters for Call Me by Your Name?
You know, it underperformed in the nominations, as it did at SAG, which was strange. Two very gay-friendly voter bases. So, though they like it, I don't think it can win Best Picture. Now, having said that, of course, I'm always proven wrong. But I think that Armie Hammer can win here, and I think Timothée can do it. Because the actual feedback I got from a couple members was as follows. And these were young members of HFPA's Golden Globe voters, told me recently that they were tempted to vote for Timothée because he is kind of like the new breakout star, that they like that. But Gary Oldman was the film. He was the whole towering film. You're getting a lot for your vote when you go for that. And they just think Timothée is just one great part of that film, and he's not. It's not a big demonstrative role. And in the cases of those voters, they did not hold a grudge at all about the Gary Oldman thing. They didn't care.
Because I was wondering, like, there's one thing to say you don't want to vote for Gary Oldman. He called us wankers 20 years ago or something like that. But I guess there is also do you have someone you want to be voting for on the other? Like, it's not just a voting, but if there's someone an appealing alternative and you're actually really passionate about that other guy, then it's easier to throw away your Oldman vote.
I think I've been predicting Timothy for a little bit. I think there are two factors here. There's the interview factor, how Gary Oldman trashed them, and then combined with that, if he's the whole film, it didn't get in for Best Picture drama. So the film drastically underperformed, even more so than Call Me by Your Name did, because Call Me by Your Name did get the Best Picture nomination. Darkest Hour could have been up for picture. It could have been up for
director,
maybe supporting award, director, screenplay. It's a very dialogue-driven, speech-driven film. It could have been up for score. But it feels like, in a way, Darkest Hour is underperforming like Jackie did last year.
Right.
And that was when Isabelle Huppert kind of took her down at the Globes kind of unexpectedly. And I feel like since there's more support for Call Me by Your Name than there is for Darkest Hour, and because it has kind of a European foreign feel with, of course, an Italian director set in Italy, I think that might be enough for Timothy to win.
I wonder if the heavy prosthetics will hurt Gary Oldman, because he doesn't disappear into the performance because of the performance. He disappears because of the makeup.
Oh, they love that stuff. They love it. All right, let's go to some more inside Golden Globe dish here that we can give you right here exclusively at Gold Derby, and that is a big surprise across the board when talking with voters. Has been observed by 4 different sources that I have that are really, really, really good sources. Let's put it that way. And they all came back to say, wow, I, Tonya has enormous support. It's such huge support that it is possible for I, Tonya to take down Lady Bird for actress and picture. No one's actually outright predicting that, but boy, they really, really love. And this is a movie that's overperforming, right? This is a movie that just got in for Best Picture at the Producers Guild, and all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, this is a more formidable foe than we realize. And by the way, the campaigner on the movie is Leah Yardem, who is the longtime Oscar campaigner for Paramount. She's a veteran at this. And often when we size up these movies and their Oscar chances, it's really important to talk about who the campaigner is behind the scenes and whether they really know what they're doing or not. And in this case, she's a pro. So very interesting. What do you guys think? Can Margot or the movie pull off an upset anywhere?
I think Margot absolutely could. I just saw it this week, and God, she's really great in that movie, and it's all her basically. And they picked the best year to do this. I mean, I hope this wasn't just by mistake, but it is an Olympic year, so you know. Oh yeah. You can't go 5 seconds without. I was watching figure skating. Yes, I'm a girl, so I was watching figure skating. They're bringing that. They brought it up again. They keep bringing it up. So it's like a FYC ad every time, besides the actual commercials of the movie running in between this. So.
And actually, one of the ladies figure skaters on the American side is trying a triple axel this year, which of course Tonya Harding is famous for being the first American woman to do.
So they bring her up again. It's just.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing, and here's I think the interesting thing with I, Tonya is because when you look at I, Tonya and Lady Bird, they're two very, very different movies. I mean, Lady Bird, Daniel and I have talked about this. Lady Bird kind of feels like, a nice hug. Whereas I, Tonya really is just a proverbial and in the movie literal punch in the face. Yeah. What I wonder is, because I've been hearing the same things, from friends of mine, that just how much they love this movie and the fact that it got in at PGA. I'm wondering if maybe, if even if it doesn't win tonight, I think that movie is building momentum in a way that could make it a much more serious Oscar player than we might have thought. But I think what the two races that'll be the most interesting to watch are supporting actress, where I think Allison Janney is a threat to take down Laurie Metcalf, and to see if Margot Robbie can take down Saoirse Ronan. If either one of those two, I think Robbie has a better chance. It's funny, that supporting actress race has been giving me nightmares. I think I've changed at least 3 times in that category today. But
anyway, let me sign off here. We've got Art Marcus and Denton next on the bill here. Matt.
Yeah. Yes, they are. They are coming up soon.
I will get out of the way and cede the stage to those geniuses. Thanks, everybody. Good luck on your prediction.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom. Hopefully catch you after the show, Tom. Okay.
Sorry.
I was going to say, with I, Tonya, it's almost trying to tonight complete a triple axel of picture, actress, and supporting actress.
Bravo.
If we go
through,
if you could say, how many do you think I, Tonya wins tonight? What would you say? You don't have to say even which ones it wins.
I think it can only win one, and that's Margot Robbie.
So you got one, Tony?
Yeah,
I think it could. I think one is its best shot, but that one is all it needs to continue this momentum.
Yeah. Daniel?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to win any at the moment, but I agree with everyone who has said that Margot Robbie is the best shot. I can see a situation where Margot wins actress and Lady Bird still wins best picture, supporting actress, and maybe screenplay too. And they kind of spread the wealth to Margot Robbie. I can't see a situation where Saoirse wins and I, Tonya wins best picture. I feel like that's such a performance-driven film, on that Margot Robbie performance, that if they're going to give it to the film, they're going to give it to her too.
I think what Tony articulated is the hug you get from Lady Bird. That's so much about Laurie Metcalf. I think that's why that warmth from her performance, and I know that Allison Janney gives this big bombastic performance, but it's so one note. There's never anything redeeming about this performance like you got with J.K. Simmons and Whiplash a little bit. So
I think Janney's the best shot of an I, Tonya win, actually, but I'm not predicting it for any, so I guess my number would be 0. But it could win too. Like, it could just win both of the acting awards or picture and acting award, but I do think Lady Bird has the sort of the inside track on all 3 races. David, we're getting a bit of an echo. If you want to get some earphones, that would be good. And I'd like to invite, who else was joining us for the last section? Marcus Dixon, get on in here, buddy.
How could you forget Marcus?
How could I? Well, how could I forget that? So I will apologize to him. So,
have we talked about best song yet? I want to know what everyone's picking for best song.
Very briefly, but Amanda, why don't you open a more in-depth discussion about it?
Mary J. Blige, double nominated. They're going to want her on stage. Song is a far easier category for her to win.
Any other opinions?
I've got Mary J. Blige too, but I less confidently so. I think they could give that to The Greatest Showman. It's nominated for Best Picture. They could give it to Remember Me, which is the Oscar frontrunner. I think it's going to be between those three. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably Mary J. Blige, but I don't think I think the Oscars the dynamics will shift. Tony, do you have a thought on the race?
Oh, no, I completely agree. I was like Mary J. Blige from the minute. That was one of my first. That was an easy one.
Is that before I ask? You guys have been with us for the past bit to leave. What I'd like to say is there a TV race each of you would like to touch on? Daniel.
I'm weirdly more confident about my TV predictions than my film predictions, which is only to say that I expect to get fewer of them wrong. Not that I think I'm going to get more of them right in a sense. Just because I feel like, Handmaid's Tale feels solid. Best comedy series feels solid-ish. Best limited series feels solid. Wondering what everyone's doing for best actor in a movie limited series. I'm going with Ewan McGregor. I feel like just the weird confluence of factors in this category. Like the math works best for him slightly, although the math with these Globe voters is weird. They added, La La Land +2 and they got 7. And so you never know. I'm feeling good about my TV predictions, which will now probably all be wrong.
Tony, what's your thoughts on the TV races, and is there one particular one that you'd like to focus on?
I'm thinking good thoughts for Eric McCormack because I want Will and Grace to break out of that large slump.
Let me break in for 1 second. I was doing the TV rundown of the category of all the categories, and Chris and I were wondering why on earth are they presenting Best TV Comedy Actor after TV Comedy Series? And then it wasn't until a little bit later that I thought maybe they're teeing it up for Eric McCormack because Will and Grace would lose Comedy Series. It would be 0 for 28. And then they'll give Eric McCormack that kind of, come on, it's your turn.
Or they could pull a Fargo. They could pull a Fargo. Remember when Fargo won limited series? They announced series, and then Billy Bob Thornton just basically stayed on the stage. So maybe we're going to see a victory march for them. I doubt it. But.
Daniel, do you know if they know the winners when they plan this? I know at the Oscars and the Emmys, there is no one until the envelope is open knows who has won that except the accountants. Could the Globes factor stuff like that into their order?
I don't have any idea. It's right now. It's just a really last-minute conspiracy theory. Even if they didn't know, maybe because it's a small organization, they could have, really, conferred amongst themselves. Like we're voting for Eric McCormack, right? It's like yeah, we're voting for Eric McCormack, and then maybe decided at that point.
You are right. It does just take 90 phone calls to find out who has won the Golden Globes. So
a lot of phone calls.
Yeah. I do want to just quickly add that. The other TV race that I'm going to watch very closely is limited series actress because I want to watch everybody be wrong about this whole Jessica Biel bandwagon. Because I'm sticking with Kidman on that one.
Yeah,
and then I will gladly eat all sorts of crow when I am wrong.
Yes, no, I think Kidman's got this too. Okay, well, thank you so much, Tony and Daniel, for joining us. We will speak to you, I think, after the show, correct? I'm speaking to Daniel after the show. Okay, so see you guys. Thank you so much for your thoughts. And we're now joined on the panel by Denton Davidson and Marcus Dixon. Denton, what category are you most excited about for the Globes today?
Can you hear me okay? This is my first
you sound great.
webcast one. Okay. I think drama is going to be a tight race, so I'm excited about that. Right before I came on here, I tried to switch back to Shape of Water, and it was too late. So I'm stuck with 3 billboards, and I put all my chips in that movie, and it might come back to haunt me or not. I'm going to find out. But it was my favorite of the 5. So we'll see. If Shape of Water wins and I missed that deadline by a minute, I'm going to be pretty mad at myself.
I'm happy if the predictions are closed. I'm happy because last year in the pre-show slugfest, what we're doing right now, Tom convinced me that Moonlight was not going to win Drama Picture. It was going to be Manchester. So I made a live switch live on air, and that really bit me in the butt.
That's probably why Paul cut it off so early.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul's got Marcus's back this year.
Or Paul made some really insightful changes and didn't want us to make it.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
I made one switch today. I guess it was last night. I switched best song. I had Coco and I switched to The Greatest Showman. Because they really love musicals. It's the one group that just loves musicals, and especially original musicals. And look what happened with La La Land last year.
No one's won that category back to back since Alan Menken, and it's been like 25 years. So that's the reason why I'm not going with them personally. That and the Mary J. Blige. Who are you guys going with? Mary J. Blige.
Yeah, that's a safe.
I went with Mary J. Blige too, just because it's a chance to get her on stage after kind of a breakout year. This is actually her 3rd nomination for Best Song at the Globes, so she's not a rookie in this category. And if they were ever going to give it to her, this is an easy way to kind of congratulate her on the year that she's had. And if you listen to the songs, I mean, to me, it's the best song. So not that matters.
It doesn't really. But and she's a superstar. They love having music superstars on the stage. So
yeah,
I think that's a good place to do it.
Marcus, what's your what's a category you're particularly stressed about going into today?
TV drama actor.
Okay.
I just switched yesterday. I had Sterling the whole time, and I couldn't stick with him because he's American, and there's one foreigner in this list against 4 Americans, and that's Freddie Highmore. So I'm going with Freddie. He's on the new show. He's on network TV, which Sterling was as well. But I don't know. I
can see Freddie winning. I could see Freddie doing it. It'd be great to see him take it up.
Yeah. He's been working a long time, even though he's so young.
Yes.
I think Sterling K. Brown's going to win, and I'm basing this on an email I was asked about, like how long it's been since a minority has won that category. So I know it was Jimmy Smits again about 20-something years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they took a real nosedive in their diversity this year compared to last year. So I don't usually make my predictions that way, but it really wouldn't surprise me if they wanted to not do the Golden Globe winners so white kind of a hashtag.
Mm-hmm.
Plus,
I went with Freddie here.
They kind of owe them. I think they owe them from last year.
Mm-hmm.
I went with Freddie. It's a new show, and they like to award the new show. And I've heard so many people just that I've been talking to, if they're talking about TV at all, it's, have you seen The Good Doctor? And they love Freddie Highmore in this TV show. So I went with him just because I think there's a lot of people that are behind him right now.
If they love the show so much, why isn't it nominated? That's my one hang up. Why isn't the show nominated?
Right.
I
and
think
why do they keep nominating Game of Thrones year after year? They clearly hate the show. So why do they keep giving it nominations if they don't like the show? They should just get rid of it. I think they're guilted into nominating it each year, that they don't want to look stupid by snubbing it.
I think this category looks boring without Kit Harington in it. Personally, I really think it looks completely dull. This and drama actress, they just look kind of like there's like a big glaring snub.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Do any of the other TV? I do feel like we have shortchanged the TV races a bit in this pre-show. So
just like the Globes do every year.
Just like it was not lost on me. Are there any other TV races we want to touch on that we haven't delved
Let's do
into?
the catch-alls. Those are always my favorite. These are my favorite awards of the year because literally I could draw a name out of a hat and give you a convincing reason why that person was going to win.
Yeah. Okay, so by catch-alls you mean the supporting races where we have comedies, minis, dramas, all in it together. And let's go with them. Who are we liking for supporting actress in a supporting role? Is it Laura Dern, Ann Dowd, Chrissy Metz, Michelle Pfeiffer, or Shailene Woodley?
I think Laura Dern, and here's why. First of all, they love her. She's won, 3 already?
And she has Miss Golden Globe. And
they loved Big Little Lies, so that's 2 pluses. And she was in Twin Peaks, and she was in Star Wars. So this is kind of like all of these pluses are coming together for Laura Dern right now. So that's why I have her.
The Star Wars thing did not help Riz Ahmed last year, and he was also nominated against a co-star.
It helped Oscar Isaac 2 years ago, though.
But Oscar Isaac was nominated by himself. She still has to get past Shailene Woodley, who could like Emily Blunt her way into this or win. So I'm going with Ann Dowd because I don't have Elizabeth Moss winning.
Oh, wait, who do you have winning? Oh man.
Katrina Balfe. Don't laugh at me.
No,
it can absolutely happen. And when I'm right, all
right, we'll talk about it.
I will
bow down to you when you're right about that.
It doesn't help that I get a lot of positive feedback on that from Twitter to like keep going with that.
Well, you can laugh at me now because I'm going way out on a limb in this category, and I'm going with Chrissy Metz because I think she's a likable actress.
Why are you laughing?
I'm not laughing. I'm just laughing because he told me to laugh at him. Basically.
I think she has a chance because I do think Laura Dern is the favorite, and she's got Shailene Woodley kind of standing in her way a little bit. And I don't think Sterling is going to win. And if they want to give This Is Us something, she's the role they're going to give it to him in. I just think this race is such a crapshoot that she kind of stands out as something different. So I said, why not?
I think if she was going to win, she was going to do it last year when the story was far more relevant. Now she's been on this hit show for a year. Clearly she's not broke.
And who beat her last year? The Foreigner, Olivia Colman. They love their foreigners.
But they could love Michelle Pfeiffer. She's the movie star. She is a movie star in that category.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm looking at them. Like, I do think Laura Dern's winning. I think Metz and Dowd have a chance to upset, and you can't discount Pfeiffer because she's a movie star.
Or Shailene. Shailene could
Woodley.
absolutely do it.
Look, she's probably who I'd vote for. I think she probably gave the best performance of the 5 for mine.
She's arguably like the third lead of that movie.
Yeah. So I don't think anyone here would be too shocking, but sort of almost because of that, I think Laura Dern is a bit safer. Like, I just feel a bit more like no one else is popping for me in a big way. So I think Laura Dern might win that. Let's go to the male side of things. You've got Christian Slater, Alexander Skarsgård, David Thewlis, David Harbour, and Alfred Molina.
This is an interesting one because the Emmys went with Skarsgård. I'm predicting Skarsgård, but I don't think he's going to win. My only problem was I didn't know who to pick besides him because you could really make a case for anyone besides Christian Slater just because Christian won this a couple years ago. So does anyone have anyone other than Skarsgård?
I'm picking Skarsgård, but I reckon Harbour could win this.
I think it's Molina. I think Molina could be the upset because they sometimes do like to give it to their elder statesman who's never really won something. And, when I see Skarsgård, I before he won that Emmy, I thought, well, he's probably going to win the Globe because he's like the typical Globe winner. He's good looking. He's foreign. He's from a family of actors. It's like, check, check, check. But then the Emmys did it. And that's always been their thing. So I think they might do what the Emmys usually do and maybe go elder statesman. And wouldn't it be nice to see Molina finally win something? That would be kind of a great.
Yeah, I went with Skarsgård here too, and I definitely think Harbour could sneak in there and steal it. But I agree, Molina would be a great choice. My issues with that is that he has been nominated and lost so many other awards that I just don't know if they're gonna put him in through for a win here.
If I was voting, I would probably vote for David Thewlis. I think he gave the best performance in this group.
Yeah,
but I think when I'm actually predicting, though, I have him down pretty low, just because I don't think Fargo is as relevant as it used to be.
It's very rare for any show, regardless of what genre you're in, to win 3. 3 is a lot of Golden Globes. And The Night Manager, I think, is the only one who did it last year without a series win. So it's one of those things with Big Little Lies. How many awards is it really going to win? Because if it's going to win series, then it's picking up 2 acting races is a big deal.
Yeah.
Sweeping the supporting races, you know, Glee did it in, I think, 2009, and then we went a couple good years there between when The Night Manager did it. So I have a hard time believing one series, one movie, one drama is going to sweep these categories. And what happened to comedy performers? Come on, like nobody from a comedy? Like this is like 2 years in a row now, people.
Yeah.
Nominate a funny person. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And when you look at shows like, obviously Veep's not completely in the wheelhouse of Globos and things, but shows like Veep and there's so many great supporting comedy roles. Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Is Saturday Night Live eligible?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they could have nominated Kumail Nanjiani. They could have thrown him something. Come on. And that just makes me, I won't get it.
Yeah, Silicon Valley, some great supporting performances. Like, anyway, here's one that I'm finding pretty interesting. Actress in a TV series, musical, or comedy. Got Alison Brie from Glow, Rachel Brosnahan for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Frankie Shaw from Smilf. They're 4 like new, very fresh new shows. Then you got Issa Rae from Insecure and Pamela Adlon from Better Things. I could see nearly all of them winning this. Who do you guys have out in front?
Rachel Brosnahan. I've waited so long to watch someone on an Amy Sherman Palladino, because I'm a Gilmore Girls super fan, win, that I'm practically willing this to happen. But I think the person to look out for is not from a nominated series, but I think Alison Brie. She's in The Post. She's in The Disaster Artist.
Yeah. Glow did very well at the SAG too. That sort of like helped to get attention and buzz around this time.
That's how Olivia Colman won last year. She was in The Lobster and The Night Manager. So
I predicted Frankie Shaw for Smilf and forgot to change it because I actually think Rachel Brosnahan is going to win this. That's where, like, I think she's got a job. But I think Alison Brie's in it too. I think it will be one of those 3 new girls, though. I think it will be Alison, Rachel, or Frankie will take it out.
I did a write-in vote. I voted for Julia Louis-Dreyfus because she should be here.
She should win.
I don't know why she's not nominated. Of all the years, they could have just...
I don't know.
They don't love the show. It's like
being nominated.
It's like we talked about Game of Thrones earlier. They just don't love Veep.
I wonder if it's because it's such an Emmy favorite that they don't want to rubber stamp it.
It is old too, and the older a show is, the less likely Globes do tire of things. But
they want to do their own thing, and that's why I really like Marvelous Mrs. Maisel here, for not just for Rachel, but for the show also. I think they're going to pair up.
Yeah, well, what do we think about the series race? You got Blackish, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Master of None, Smilf, and Will and Grace. What wins? I'm thinking The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel wins, although I think I predicted something else.
Well, Smilf is not.
I think there'll be a sweep there too. I'm with Marcus. I think it'll be Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and Rachel. Is it Brosnahan? And they just kind of have that tendency to do that every year. Is kind of go with the new comedy with the star of the show, and if they're going to do that this year, I think it's that series.
Yeah, but Smilf, Matt, is not a crazy prediction because it's very much in their wheelhouse. It's like the new Girls. It's like the new Transparent.
It's an auteur show. They like those.
Yeah, and Frankie is the writer. She's the producer. She's the creator. She's the star. So I could easily see her. I had her predicted for a long time, and then I actually watched Mrs. Maisel, and Rachel was just phenomenal. She blew me away.
If you only watched the pilot, you're like, wow, she could win the Emmy with that episode.
The last 5 minutes of that pilot is going to win her the Emmy. Sorry, Julia.
Best comedy series writing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll stop. I'm very excited to see them finally get their due. So,
okay. So, what about TV series drama? Are we all going with Handmaids?
yeah.
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 I guess.
It's kind of
It's hard to go. It's tough to go against it. It's the only new show that's in there.
It's not like a given though. Like
Right.
I do think The Crown and Stranger Things both were released very late this year, or late last year, early this year. They're all quite fresh shows, and they both had very strong seasons. So I wouldn't like count those shows out, but I would say Handmaid. And This Is Us, NBC.
Do you think The Handmaid's Tale could actually be hurt because it won the Emmy and the Golden Globes
Yes.
don't want to be followers?
Yeah.
That's why I'm so
Seems-
hesitant about picking
seems
it
old.
because
Yeah.
they don't want to. Who said rubber stamp earlier? They don't want to rubber stamp the Emmys. They want to do their own thing. That's why if there was a new show in here besides Handmaids, if there was a new drama like Good Doctor, I would be predicting it. But there's not. So it kind of by default, it just wins by default.
And I think like last year we saw so many new dramas. It really wouldn't surprise me this year if they went back to one of those shows
Stranger
because there was
Things,
just
This Is Us.
so many of them. And they love Brits. They could still go with The Crown. I mean, we could really, it's very rare, but they might, they like what they like.
Yeah. And look, I think like we talk about gold floaters loving new shows and they love, well, that's why I think Marvelous Mrs. Maisel or Smilf could have a good chance. But like The Handmaid's Tale, even though it is a new show, won awards like 5 months ago. So it doesn't seem like a new show. Like they're not crowning this series. Like it already got all the awards 5 months ago. It's sort of, that was so September. Whereas whereas The Crown or Stranger Things could seem in some way like it's sort of maybe there is no new completely fresh show in this race.
Wait, real quick, if you guys were voters, what would you vote on for these 5? I would vote for Stranger Things. I think season 2 was just absolutely
I'd vote Stranger Things too.
Yeah, I give it up to Stranger Things because they had a lot of expectations going into that second season and they didn't dip. I mean, there was one episode, that sister episode, that I could have dealt without, but for the most part, I loved it.
It would be close for me between Stranger Things and Handmaid's Tale, but I would actually vote for Handmaid's Tale. To me, that show just blew me away.
And I'm the only girl, and I went with Stranger Things.
Okay, best TV movie: Big Little Lies, Fargo, Feud, Sinner, Top of the Lake, China Girl. Are we all going Big Little Lies?
Yep.
Yes, but they're such huge Ryan Murphy fans, aren't they? I mean, Glee won twice, Nip Tuck won, OJ won last year. Could Feud upset? It's possible.
Yes, because they love old Hollywood, and like the Emmys were like the redheaded stepchildren of award shows for a very long time. But remember, Feud starts at the Golden Globes with Joan Crawford, with Jessica Lange going, I'm sick of being irrelevant and storming out of there and going to find a book to make this project out. So they might actually kind of like that. So they could definitely, I don't think either of them are going to win because they're playing Golden Globe losers, but.
Well, I mean, we could be, I mean, it's possible we're overestimating Big Little Lies. Amanda mentioned earlier that if it swept the supporting categories, that would be a big deal. But Nicole Kidman is also the front runner for Best Actress. So is this going to win 4 awards? Like it might not win 3 awards. People really think it's going to win 4. So one of them probably is not going to win. So where is the weak link there?
That's why I took Nicole Kidman out and I put in Jessica Biel.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Me too.
That and the inside information I've been given, which Marcus knows about. So my source is Marcus's source. So
and watch that source be completely wrong.
Yeah, if that source is wrong, he's going to be getting a strongly worded email about feeding me bad information. I'm just
kidding. Yeah, I already hate the guy, so I don't know what else he could do to make me hate him more.
Yeah. So we have now pretty much talked about every Globes category over the past 2 hours. The 2 races we haven't gone into in depth would be actor in a limited series and actress in a TV series drama. So does anyone here have any thoughts about those 2 races?
Jane Seymour, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, third nomination. She had to wait for all those other people to get out of there, and then she knocked out 2 new people from nominated series, including Gillian Anderson for The X-Files. So
And Jillian will be there tonight. I saw on her Instagram. She looks very, very nice. Hey, so when Jane Seymour won, was her show up? Because Katrina Balfe's show is not up tonight.
No.
Oh, okay.
So, yes.
I think Elizabeth Moss, though, with The Handmaid's Tale, I think this is where The Handmaid's Tale sort of will win. And then it might then go on to win series as well. But I think that and the fact that China, top of the lake China Girl also
If they love her, why
got
isn't she
into
nominated for China Girl?
Yeah, that's fair.
And
it's
also,
a fair counter.
You know, she did earn them an FCC fine the last time she got up there and dropped the F-bomb. So
they like the attention.
She's not Bono. They might not be ready to let that go. That was like a couple weeks ago.
They paid the fine. The Globes like the attention. I don't think they're going to be upset about that. And best actor in a limited series: De Niro, Law, McLaughlin, McGregor, and Rush.
You know,
I have De Niro.
I have De Niro right now, and I kind of threw a dart at the board because he hasn't won any. He hasn't won any of these, so I don't know why I keep thinking he's going to win one because he never does. So I have him right now, but I'm not confident at all.
Okay.
I'm worried about an HBO sweep though. They love splitting up awards between, all the little networks get something. So if Big Little Lies is going to sweep for HBO, then they're not going to also give it to The Wizard of Lies for Robert De Niro. They're going to want to split that up. Maybe Showtime gets it for Kyle MacLachlan.
Yeah. So we have
Ewan McGregor.
We have 3 minutes. The Golden Globes is due to kick off. What are our final thoughts from everyone? We'll start with you, Amanda. What about a category, about or whatever?
Would it be really the most shocking thing if Ridley Scott won Best Director, or would it be just one of those things that afterwards you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense? But he's the one I don't really know what to do.
That's a good thought. Like, he could easily win that race. I think Del Toro wins. I think that is going to be the Shape of Water win for tonight in my mind. With 3 billboards winning elsewhere. But Ridley Scott could easily win that. And if him and Plummer both take it out, that'll be a really good night for all the money in the world.
I would say one of those under the line categories where you can win or lose would be foreign film. And why is The Square the front runner? I don't know anyone that liked it. So that's kind of where I'm at. I picked A Fantastic Woman. I think maybe they want Angelina Jolie up there for First I Killed My Father, but I just went with A Fantastic Woman. But I think that is a wide open race that could make or break some scores.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see the political comments, not just about Trump, but about the Hollywood sexual harassment scandals. What is Seth Meyers going to say about Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey and Louis C.K.? I can't wait.
And what is Christopher Plummer or Ridley Scott going to say if they win?
Ooh, yeah.
Too. Like, will there be any acknowledgement of those circumstances or not? So that'll be interesting. Or if Michelle Williams wins, sorry, I don't want to leave her out too. I am focused in on actor in a comedy. I know a lot. Everyone seems to be predicting. James Franco, but I really think Daniel Kaluuya, which I know I'm probably pronouncing wrong. I'm very bad at pronouncing names. I think he wins for Get Out. I think that's going to be a big upset of the night and help set him on a track to get an Oscar nomination for Get Out. So I think that's what I'm most excited to see hopefully happen tonight. Yeah.
Well,
There we
thanks for
go.
hosting, Matt. You did a fantastic job.
We're done. Yeah, the Globes are starting right now.
Thank you.
I'll let everyone get to it. We will be back straight after the show with a live post show. While the awards are on, follow our live blog at Gold.
Let's hope we don't have any envelope mishaps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. Goodbye.
Thank you.